Sakamoto owns a convenience store, but just as he twists a key, the wall of the shop spins around to reveal over hundreds of newest firearms. Everyone thought this chubby man was just somewhat ordinary, but turns out he's a legendary assassin. He can eliminate an elite special ops team all by himself. His existence terrifies the government officials, crime lords, and tycoons. The strongest hitman attacks gangsters as his daily post-meal workout. He can catch bullets with chopsticks, use a ballpoint pen as a dart, and wipe out the largest local mafia in just 10 minutes. However, such a powerful man suddenly decides to hide his strength and run a convenience shop. He even goes from a super hot guy to a fat man. Why? It all starts with a woman. At 22, most people are just starting their careers, while Sakamoto has already reached the peak of his profession. But his job isn't printing documents in the office, it's assassination. If someone gets targeted by Sakamoto on a Friday, he would have no chance to enjoy the weekend, but be reincarnated into another world, with no match. Sakamoto eventually gets bored of his killing life. One day while shopping, he fell in love with a girl working in a convenience store. Oi! The power of love made the legendary assassin retire on the spot. 5 years into marriage, a lack of exercise and too many delicious meals turned him into a fat man. Few people know about Sakamoto's past, so no one respects the overweight man. One day, a boy messing around in the store accidentally spills ink onto a man's white pants. Just as the thug is about to teach the kid a lesson, Sakamoto steps in, slitting his throat. Of course, the killing part is Sakamoto's imagination, but unexpectedly, someone sees through it. Shin, a hitman with mind-reading ability, exposes Sakamoto's thoughts of murder, and soon realizes Sakamoto wants to kill him too. Panicking, Shin reminds him of the mission they were on together, and that he is Sakamoto's junior. Since Sakamoto rarely speaks, Shin keeps the conversation going by reading his mind. When Sakamoto is not in the store, he would help his neighbors trim the trees or babysit a kid. He genuinely enjoys his peaceful life, rejecting Shin's offer to return to the assassin world. Disappointed by the loss of the legendary assassin, Shin then gets a call from his boss, who orders Shin to kill Sakamoto. That night is torment for Shin. If Sakamoto doesn't die tomorrow, the gang will just send someone else. Shin can't bear to let his idol be killed by others, and that would be an insult to the legendary assassin. So he decides to be the one to send Sakamoto off, but he regrets it the moment he makes the move. Shin barely gets the chance to shoot. The candy Sakamoto casually spits out has stronger power than a bullet. If it weren't for the promise he made to his wife Owen never to kill again, Shin would have died from the candy. In the end, the top hitman Shin gets kicked unconscious by Sakamoto. When Shin wakes up, he sees Sakamoto's wife and daughter. Turns out the second floor of the store is their home. Shin is then treated to delicious dinner, which he suspects is poison but ends up eating them all, crying for how tasty the food is. Sakamoto had the same reaction the first time he had the meals always cooked. Suddenly, Shin realizes that Sakamoto has found something more meaningful than the title of legendary assassin. After a long silence, Shin decides to handle the mission in his own way. He returns to beg the gang boss to cancel the hit on Sakamoto, offering to take the death himself. But actually, this gang boss is just a local thug, completely out of his power to handle Sakamoto. He just once collaborated with Sakamoto, mistaking it as his control on Sakamoto. Shin is learning from Sakamoto how to defy orders. The gang boss pretends to agree on Shin's proposal, but secretly plans to send someone else after Sakamoto once Shin dies. Shin reads his thoughts and knows what's coming. He was just taking a chance, hoping it would work. Now that the gang boss breaks his word, Shin decides to fight back. The gunfight begins. Shin dodges bullets by reading others' intentions, managing to take down several foes. But he soon runs out of bullets and gets injured while trying to break through. Captured and surrounded, his mind reading is no longer enough. Just then, a chubby man appears, turning the tide, who turns out to be the legendary assassin, Sakamoto. His power is terrifying. He catches bullets with chopsticks, while at the same time dodging the attacks, and fights like a superhero. The enemies on site are completely overwhelmed. The battle turns strangely one-sided. Sakamoto charges like a hammer, smashing through the enemy's last line. No one can stop this human weapon. He still remembers his promise to always not to kill, so every of his strikes avoids fatal areas, merely incapacitating enemies. Shin is stunned, and then curious about how Sakamoto found this place. It turns out that Sakamoto planted a bug in Shin's gun while he was unconscious. Half an hour earlier, when he heard Shin saying that he was willing to die in exchange for Sakamoto's freedom, he revealed the secret in his store. Inside is a hidden weapons vault, but Sakamoto only took a taser. Back to now, Sakamoto invites Shin to work at the store. The young hitman, no longer lost, accepts the path his senior set for him. With his mind-reading ability, Shin can help elderly customers find what they need in no time. When working at the convenience store, Shin gets to know a different side of Sakamoto. The once fearless assassin is now just a guy who listens to his wife. He even avoids talking about any killing-related topics, afraid it might upset Aoi. When Shin compliments Sakamoto on still being a badass in a fight, he immediately picks up a mental image of himself getting killed by Sakamoto. Clearly, this convenience store boss really wants the new guy to shut up. Then Sakamoto and Shin go to the Chinatown intending to get the popular meat buns. Sakamoto just wants his wife and daughter to be happy when they taste the delicious meat buns, only to get sabotaged by a girl falling from the sky. She crushes both Sakamoto and the buns. The girl's named Xiaotang, claiming that she's being chased by a gang. As the gangsters reach closer, this Chinese girl manages to knock out a few of them with martial arts. But the enemies keep coming, and eventually she's caught. Just then, Shin and Sakamoto jump into the fight. However, the gang has backup. To not waste time fighting all of them, Sakamoto just picks up Xiaotang and runs away. The gang boss, Wang, is furious. He has killed Xiaotang's parents to steal the family fortune. Now all he needs is the key that Xiaotang holds, so he hired 2 elite assassins, Natsuki and Bacho. These 2 are brothers, and complete psychos. They don't kill for money, but also for their weird pleasure. Even some mafias are scared of them. As they escape, Xiaotang shares her story. She comes from a mafia family. Her parents died protecting her, and now she holds the key to their family treasure. Shin senses how dangerous this whole thing is and tries to talk Sakamoto out of helping. But when Xiaotang confirms to Sakamoto that she knows how to make meat buns, he immediately commits to helping her. Before Sakamoto can even finish his sentence, he gets kicked across to the next building. The Psycho brothers are here. Xiaotang warns Shin that these 2 love to take the victims' decapitated heads and sketch them. Shin has no time to think about it, launching an attack immediately intending to get the upper hand, only to be blocked by the enemies. Once again, Sakamoto comes to the rescue. He punches Bacho straight through the floor into the kitchen. When Xiaotang wants to seize the chance to take revenge for her parents, Sakamoto stops her. These 2 psycho killers are powerful. Only Sakamoto can defeat them. At this moment, Shin reads Sakamoto's memories. It was Christmas Eve, years ago. Back then, Sakamoto and Aoi were having relationship issues. Sakamoto kept killing to earn money to buy gifts for Aoi, while Aoi couldn't accept his bloody job. Aoi jumped from a high place on purpose, just to make him realize that when someone dies, there will always be someone else suffering for it. That night changed everything. Sakamoto quitted being a hitman, and following Aoi's wish, he made a vow that for every person he killed, he would help one person as atonement. Now, Sakamoto goes full Jackie Chan mode, using anything around him as a weapon to fight the Psycho brothers. No matter how hard they try, they can't even land a hit on him. Feeling the pressure, the brothers activate their combo attack. However, despite his size, Sakamoto is agile enough to dodge everything with ease. Natsuki starts to fear his enemy. Just as the Psycho is about to use his final move, Sakamoto, who's now worried about being late for dinner, switches from defense to offense and knocks them both out in a flash. Next, it's revenge time. Wang has no chance to resist, but Xiaotang doesn't kill him, just gives him a brutal beating. She knows once you start killing, it's hard to stop. She's tired of the mafia life. All she wants now is to live like a normal person. Before she says goodbye to her old life, Xiaotang opens the room stored with her family treasure. Every family head left behind a most valuable treasure there. Her father left a bottle of sake, hoping to celebrate with her when she reaches 18. Xiaotang shares the sake with her 2 new friends, and Sakamoto brings out the squished meat buns to go with it. That meal ends up holding a special meaning for them. Then, Xiaotang joins the convenience store as a new staff. Unlike Shin, Xiaotang is always late and never organizes the products well on the shelves. Shin starts to suspect she has never had a job in her life. Xiaotang defends herself, saying she has worked before, which turns out to be helping her dad bury corpses. Shin is speechless, rushing to complain about it to Sakamoto, only to find something weird. Sakamoto, usually a man with few words, suddenly becomes super chatty. It's like he's using the amounts of words that used to be months worth within a few minutes. Also, his personality changes as well. Just then, the door opens. Another Sakamoto walks in. In a split second, they lock each other in a deadly standoff. Turns out, the fake Sakamoto is actually Yoichi, a classmate of Sakamoto from assassin school. He's a master of disguise and also of combat. If Yoichi and Sakamoto really went all out, it can't be guaranteed that Sakamoto would win. Also, Shin can't read Yoichi's mind at all, which kinda scares him. What's worse, Yoichi brings bad news, that someone just put a 1 billion yen bounty on Sakamoto through JAA, the largest assassination organization in Japan. If it's true, his peaceful life will come to an end. Right at this moment, another assassin shows up. Nakajima, disguised as a pizza delivery guy. He tries to hold Yoichi hostage while Sakamoto's distracted with the pizza, but Yoichi flips the script and gets him in a chokehold instead. And now, Sakamoto starts to talk Yoichi out from killing Nakajima because he made a promise to Aoi not to get involved in any more murders. Yoichi warns him that being soft won't help against enemies. The bounty is way too high, and top-tier assassins are already on the move. Before leaving, Yoichi drops the last line, "Just wanted to see your face one last time." Sakamoto. Elsewhere, a group of hitmen is watching Sakamoto through a tiny camera hidden in the pizza box. They're all working for Didinkai, including Nakajima. Turns out, Sakamoto used to be part of Order, JAA's elite group with only a few members that hunts down their enemies. No wonder they are wary of him. And they should be wary. Sakamoto suddenly blows the spy cam to bits with a single shot. But even the mighty Sakamoto has his worries at this moment. He can't put his beloved family in danger. However, his family is going to the amusement park tomorrow, and he doesn't want to disappoint Hana, nor worries Aoi. So, he keeps the bounty thing a secret and sticks to the plan. Just he will also take Shin, who can stay alert by his mind-reading ability covering a 30-meter radius. Sure enough, another hitman shows up. With Shin's warning, Sakamoto takes him down in a flash. And then Shin and Xiaotang quickly drag the hitman into the woods. But there's more. Hitman Tatsu is watching from afar with a telescope. Learning about Shin's ability, he hides his killing intent to avoid detection, getting closer and closer to Sakamoto. Luckily, Shin's sense of danger is proved useful soon. On the roller coaster, Shin takes the last row on purpose, as it gives him the best view of everyone ahead. Xiaotang finds Tatsu's hairstyle is outrageous, and when she speaks out her suspicion, Tatsu panics. Shin detects the weirdness about Tatsu, alerting Sakamoto immediately. As Tatsu pulls a gun, Sakamoto deflects the bullet with his bulletproof glasses. Meanwhile, Shin, with his agility, grabs Tatsu's and jumps onto the roller coaster track. However, as he dodges the roller coaster train, a poison dart grazes his leg, making his vision a total mess. Even so, Shin refuses to back down. He's determined to protect Sakamoto's peaceful life, no matter the cost. With the roller coaster's momentum, he tackles Tatsu, and both crash onto a performance stage. Covered in dust and smoke, Shin throws on a superhero costume. It hides his identity while he fights with Tatsu, so that Aoi won't find out what's going on. Tatsu is stunned, despite his injured eyes. Shin moves like he can see everything, dodging attacks and landing hits. It seems he has insane instincts. Meanwhile, Sakamoto and his family are watching the performance. He pretends to take it as a regular show. Hana even teases her dad for being too into it, but behind the scenes, Sakamoto is secretly guiding Shin's every move in his mind. Their mind-reading teamwork is next level. Tatsu gets messy in his mind, having no idea about how Shin becomes so strong all of a sudden. And when he notices that Shin's been fighting with his eyes closed the whole time, he's completely confused. Before Tatsu can figure it out, Shin lands the final blow. From the crowd, Sakamoto raises a thumb up. But Didinkai doesn't just hire one or two hitmen. Boiled and Abiguro soon make their grand entrance. Don't be fooled by Boiled's mature appearance. He's actually Sakamoto's classmate from assassin school, also an elite hitman. Sakamoto never expects his old friend to show up, and is interrogating Tatsu with his two staff. Luckily, Tatsu has the antidote with him, so Shin can recover from the poison. Now there's only one question left. Who hired Tatsu? He quickly admits it was Didinkai. As a part of the JAA, Tatsu doesn't want to anger Sakamoto just for a paycheck. In fact, all professional hitmen, including Sakamoto in the past, have to be registered with the JAA. Just then, Aoi and Hana come to Sakamoto. Urgently, Shin lies that Tatsu is part of the stage play, and they're watching him rehearsing a scene. Before leaving, Hana puts a bandage on Tatsu's arm. Moved by her innocent kindness, Tatsu lets go of the poisonous dart in his hand. Tatsu decides to give up on the mission, but right before he leaves the amusement park, he's attacked by Abiguro. Tatsu doesn't resist, not just because he knows they mean no harm, but also because he's worried. 2 years ago, Boiled and Abiguro took out over 100 enemies in the Balkan conflict, and now, the duo may easily wipe out Sakamoto's whole family. The crisis continues. Shin can't do mind reading due to lingering poison effects. Without that, they can't sense incoming hitmen. Their best option now is to go home, but Hana is still having fun and insists on going to the haunted house at dusk, the prime time for hitmen to strike. The convenience store trio is totally breaking down. Xiaotang is even more frustrated. Terrified of ghosts, she can only drink some mysterious potions to keep calm. Luckily, Sakamoto's the kind of guy who could beat up ghosts too. In the haunted house, he's still in top form, taking out every assassin lurking in the dark while keeping Aoi unaware of it. Meanwhile, Boiled and Abiguro are watching everything from the security room. Abiguro wants to fight Sakamoto, but Boiled knows his partner is still no match for the legendary assassin. Boiled reminisces about the time when he first met Sakamoto. At 15, he looked like a 35-year-old man, while Sakamoto at 14 looked like a 20-year-old handsome guy. Boiled thought they were both tough guys who only cared about fighting, not romance. They used to even eat together all the time. But on Valentine's Day, Sakamoto got a lot of chocolates. What felt worse to Boiled was that Sakamoto even told Yoichi he didn't know who Boiled was. Abiguro, after hearing all this, finally understands Boiled just hates Sakamoto out of jealousy. While Boiled is reliving his tragic backstory, Sakamoto has already knocked out a bunch of hitmen. Then Shin realizes something. Xiaotang isn't drinking potions to calm down. It is alcohol. Totally drunk, she stumbles into a secret door and outrushes a horde of assassins dressed like ghosts, with Boiled among them. A huge fight breaks out, making Sakamoto separated from his family and trapped in another section. What's worse, both Aoi and Hana fall unconscious. Shin panics, trying to figure out how they are going to handle this hitman team. Just then, Xiaotang starts to show surprising combat skills. Turns out, when drunk, her fighting style transforms into drunken kung fu, single-handedly keeps Abiguro at bay. On the other side, Sakamoto is fighting Boiled, and for the first time since Sakamoto was introduced, he's on the losing side. If there were a hitman ranking, Boiled would easily make the top 50. Sakamoto, although the legendary assassin, has been out of the game for 5 years and gained a lot of weight. His skills seem to slightly decline, making the fight much harder for him. Especially since Boiled has explosives hidden in his gloves. He can fight up close or blow things up from a distance. Sakamoto gets blasted to the ground multiple times, but his determination to protect his family pushes him to try to end the fight quickly. During the battle, he burns off a massive amount of fat, shedding over 100 pounds in an instant and returning to his peak form. Meanwhile, Xiaotang is gaining the upper hand. The point of drunken kung fu is, the drunker you get, the stronger you become. This mysterious martial art from the east makes Abiguro struggle to fight back. Stuck on the defensive, just as Xiaotang is about to land the final blow, she sobers up. The sober Xiaotang has no chance to win Abiguro. Fortunately, Abiguro respects strength. Impressed by Xiaotang's drunken kung fu, she decides to end the fight here. Now the outcome of the entire battle depends on Sakamoto, who is slimmed down and powered up. From this point on, Boiled is on the receiving end of every hit. Sakamoto's speed and strength increase dramatically, and he even finds a way to counter Boiled's explosive attacks. Once Boiled loses his biggest advantage, his defeat is only a matter of time. Sakamoto used to be like Boiled, abusing his strength to hurt others, but after meeting someone he wants to protect, he realized that the true strength comes from within. Their fight goes from the ground all the way up to the Ferris wheel, ending with Boiled coughing up blood. Boiled promises never to bother Sakamoto again. Just then, Shin shows up. Sakamoto explains he lost weight because of all the fighting. Unfortunately, Aoi overhears them. Like a guilty little kid, Sakamoto confesses everything to his wife. However, Aoi doesn't blame on him, just telling him that there should be no secrets among family members. Sakamoto is deeply moved. He decides to find out who's really behind the wave of assassins. Boiled doesn't know who's the real big boss either, but he reveals that even Didinkai might be hired by someone else to arrange all this. The next day, Sakamoto gains all the weight back from eating too much. He takes Shin and Xiaotang to a video rental shop, where some intel is sold secretly. Their information is hidden in the tapes, sold to special customers. The trio finds a tape labeled Didinkai, and after watching it, they discover the location of Didinkai's headquarters. As they prepare to leave, the store clerk informs Sakamoto that some of his old buddies may also be involved in the bounty. Meanwhile, at headquarters of JAA, 4 members of Order are having dinner. Besides Yoichi, there's Shishiba, a blonde man with sharp eyes, Osaraji, a long-haired girl, and Hayu, a wild-looking guy with a short temper. They are talking about the mission they recently took, on investigating someone who has been wiping out hitmen groups. Late at night, Sakamoto, Shin, and Xiaotang enters the building of Didinkai secretly. Security is tight here, so they firstly knock out 2 guards, and then the patrolling one in the rooftop bathroom. But strangely, no more guards after that. Even Shin's mind reading can't feel anyone around. The bad feeling in the air grows. When they reach the boss's office, their worries are confirmed. Everyone inside, including Didinkai's boss and the core members, has been murdered. The one standing in the middle of the crime scene turns out to be Yoichi. He claims he killed them all, and now now has to eliminate witnesses. Sakamoto doesn't stop Yoichi when he lunges at Shin, because he instantly detects that Yoichi's weapon is just a toy. Yoichi really loves pranks, and for that, he is beaten up by Shin and Xiaotang. After that, Yoichi explains the real problem. Multiple hitmen groups have been wiped out recently, and each crime scene features a mysterious X symbol. Clearly someone is declaring war on the JAA, so order is assigned to investigate. Yoichi also points out that the murders started at the same time the bounty was posted. Whoever's behind this might be responsible for both. To prepare for this unknown threat, Sakamoto starts training again. According to Yoichi, the enemy might be even stronger than Boiled, and on par with Sakamoto at his peak. The training plan is simple though. Sakamoto will bike 5 kilometers every day carrying his daughter. Xiaotang practices drunken kung fu by drinking non-stop, and Shin tries to read the minds of every customer who walks through the door. Meanwhile, an assassin named Mishimo arrives in Sakamoto's city. He's broke and desperate to claim the bounty on Sakamoto's head. Mishimo walks into a convenience store and asks for Sakamoto, completely unaware that the store owner is his target. Sakamoto has gained over 100 pounds, looking drastically different from the photo Mishimo has. To avoid a fight, Sakamoto lies, telling Mishimo the person he's looking for isn't there. Mishimo believes him without a second thought. Shin, using his telepathy, realizes the boy is incredibly naive, so Shin joins in on the deception, claiming there are over 200 million people named Sakamoto in the country. Once again, Mishimo falls for it, oblivious to the fact that Japan's total population is just over 100 million. Sakamoto feels bad for tricking such a simpleton and gives Mishimo some meat buns as compensation. That night, with no money, Mishimo sleeps on a rooftop. His life has been a series of misfortunes, and he was constantly bullied at the assassin agency. A gust of wind snaps Mishimo out of his memories as his last makeshift shelter collapses. Desperate for money, Mishimo enters a local shooting competition. Each team needs 3 members. By playing pitiful to gain sympathy, Mishimo manages to team up with Sakamoto and Shin. Soon, the boy reveals his terrifying talent. Mishimo is an exceptional marksman, with a talent for shooting that might even surpass Sakamoto's. Just then, a drunk Xiaotang accidentally blows Sakamoto's cover. Mishimo hates being lied to more than anything. He switches to a real firearm and starts sniping, landing a rare hit on Sakamoto. Mishimo isn't a typical sniper. He can make his bullets ricochet up to 3 times. This makes him incredibly hard to dodge. Several times, Sakamoto only avoids a fatal blow by shaking his fat. While sniping Sakamoto, Mishimo flashes back to his past again. Aside from shooting, he was talentless in every other area. Throughout his career as an assassin, he never received any recognition. Mishimo is desperate to prove himself, but in a moment of distraction, Sakamoto picks up a stone and, from an incredible distance, smashes Mishimo's sniper rifle. Instead of finishing him off, Sakamoto praises him, moved to tears by the recognition of his shooting talent. Mishimo and Sakamoto become friends. Just as this small crisis ends, a greater danger looms. To avoid getting her own work uniform dirty, Xiaotang wears Shin's while cleaning. This leads to an argument between them, with Xiaotang calling Shin a pervert for using his telepathy. Dejected, Shin leaves on his own. Just then, a group of mysterious men appears. Seeing the name tag on the uniform, they mistake Xiaotang for Shin and kidnap her. When a calmer Shin returns, he finds signs of a struggle in the store. Sakamoto's family also gets back from Hana's parent-teacher conference. The name tag on the uniform has a tracker, allowing him and Shin to immediately go after the kidnappers. Tanaka, the leader of the kidnapping mission, finally realizes they've grabbed the wrong person. Tanaka's men are all defeated by Shin and Sakamoto, forcing him to send out his strongest fighter, Natsuki. This enemy is unique. He uses invisibility to destroy Sakamoto's motorcycle, successfully shaking off his pursuers. However, from the kidnappers' special uniforms, Shin recognizes that they're from the lab. Shin used to live there and is where he accidentally gained his mind-reading ability. The lab is hidden underground, disguised by a dinosaur-themed museum on the surface. As soon as Shin and Sakamoto enter, they're enthusiastically sold dinosaur costumes by the staff. Just as they're about to sneak into the underground lab, they accidentally trigger the alarm system. Giant teddy bears inside the museum activate and attack. No sooner does Sakamoto deal with them than a massive T-Rex skeleton comes to life. To Sakamoto, even the Hulk is just another punching bag. He shatters the skeleton with a single kick. They successfully reach the underground lab. Shin knows the staff here, so getting information isn't difficult. A year ago, the lab was taken over by a group of assassins. Their leader, Kushima, forced the staff to develop weapons for killing. Just then, Kushima's accomplice, Horiguchi, appears outside the door. Knowing how terrifying Horiguchi is, the staff quickly shoves Shin and Sakamoto into a locker. Horiguchi tries to interrogate the staff about the intruders. To protect them, Shin attacks Horiguchi. Unfortunately, Horiguchi is incredibly powerful. Even with Sakamoto joining the fight, they're still on the defensive. Horiguchi uses a variety of special drugs. Sakamoto's senses are affected, causing him to hit Shin every time he tries to attack Horiguchi. Sakamoto tries a new tactic. He aims for Shin, and finally lands a blow on Horiguchi. Meanwhile, in captivity, Xiaotang meets the director. This man was once asked by a friend to take in a young Shin. Late one night, the director had a breakthrough with a superpower serum he was developing. Thirsty and half asleep, Shin woke up and accidentally drank the unfinished serum. And just like that, Shin gained the ability to read minds. At first, Shin thought it was fun, but over time, people at the lab grew to fear and resent him. The director, racked with guilt over his repeated failures, tried to develop an antidote to turn Shin back to normal. Unable to bear seeing the director so dejected, Shin chose to leave the lab and wander on his own. Encouraged by Xiaotang, the director decides to set aside his guilt for now and help them escape. At that moment, Horiguchi injects himself with all his serums, transforming into a Hulk-like monster. And Sakamoto loves punching Hulks. Shin deliberately stands right in front of Horiguchi, and Sakamoto continues to aim for Shin. Before each attack, Sakamoto thinks about where he'll strike. Shin reads his mind and dodges perfectly every time. After Sakamoto knocks Horiguchi out, two more people break into the lab. They are Shishiba and Osaraji. The two run into Kushima by chance. Kushima's two subordinates are killed instantly by Osaraji. Shishiba's target is Kushima's boss, Slur, and he doesn't want to waste time here. Coincidentally, Sakamoto steps on a trap, falls from the floor above, and lands right on top of Kushima. Shishiba leaves Kushima for Sakamoto to handle and takes Osaraji to find Slur. The underground lab becomes a multi-front battlefield, and Shin once again comes face-to-face with Natsuki. Mashimo, led by his pet parrot, also finds his way to the lab. His teamwork with Shin is getting smoother, but Natsuki's invisibility allows him to not only dodge attacks but also land successful sneak attacks. Mashimo uses his last bullet to shoot the smoke detector, triggering the sprinkler system. Natsuki's invisibility comes from his special suit. As the suit gets wet, his body becomes visible, giving Shin the opening to knock him out. Meanwhile, Kushima activates the lab's self-destruct sequence. The entire facility will explode in 20 minutes. Sakamoto is forced to speed up his assault. More than half of Kushima's body has been modified into weapons, making this monster potentially stronger than even boiled. The fight is so intense they smash through walls, battling their way from the lab into a nearby subway. Having burned through so much fat, Sakamoto reverts to his prime, slender form. For the first time, Kushima feels the threat of death, triggering a flashback. Kushima was once ostracized for killing a group of cat abusers. The same people who isolated him were then killed by Slur. Slur approved of Kushima's brand of justice, and from that day on, Kushima became his partner. The flashback ends, and Kushima attacks Sakamoto with all his might, but the harder he fights, the more hopeless he becomes. Prime Sakamoto seems invincible. Kushima throws subway passengers at Sakamoto, but Sakamoto catches every one of them with ease. The battle finally comes to a close. Kushima is defeated, and Sakamoto tosses him into a garbage can. At the same time, Shin finds Xiaotang and the director in the lab, and their past conflicts are resolved. They agree to split up to rescue everyone else. While rescuing people, Shin suddenly senses an intense killing intent. Slur walks past Shin and asks him to say hello to Sakamoto for him. When Shin turns around, the man is gone. Unfortunately, Shishiba misses his chance to confront Slur. However, by reviewing the security footage, he finds a blurry image of Slur giving orders to Kushima. After the huge battle, Shin and Xiaotang are exhausted. So, Sakamoto takes everyone to a public bathhouse, hoping a good soak will help them relax and recover. But even at the bathhouse, Sakamoto runs into another assassin. The owner has left his son, Yutaru, temporarily in charge. Yutaru, a low-level assassin, has set up numerous traps in the bathhouse. His traps are pretty ridiculous, like cranking up the shower pressure or overheating the sauna. Thanks to his thick layer of fat, Sakamoto is completely unaffected, but Shin nearly dies. Yutaru is dejected. Just then, two of his old classmates show up. The two bullies not only rough up Yutaru but also insult his father, the bathhouse owner. As a father himself, Sakamoto can't stand seeing another father's business being disrespected. He secretly takes out the two bullies. Yutaru sees everything. He's grateful to Sakamoto but also realizes his cover as an assassin has been blown. After a talk with Sakamoto, Yutaru decides to give up being an assassin and focus on inheriting his father's bathhouse. Shin is the one who suffered most from this incident, left even more exhausted by Yutaru's traps. To apologize, Sakamoto offers to take Shin and Xiaotang out for a meal. Suddenly, a group of attackers appears, but they are quickly defeated by Sakamoto and Shin. These assassins are different. They're all from Xiaotang's family. Their leader is Wutong, who serves as a strategist for the Triad. Wutong has come to bring Xiaotang back to take over the family business. He's also been in love with her for a long time, but when Xiaotang rejects him, she gets a little too close, causing Wutong to have a massive nosebleed. Shin decides to use force to protect Xiaotang. Wutong proposes a bet. If he wins, Xiaotang must return home. If Sakamoto wins, he'll get information about the bounty on his head. Sakamoto refuses to gamble with his friend's future. Unexpectedly, Xiaotang insists on going through with the bet. She wants to be the one to protect her friends for a change. The bet is simple. Wutong and Sakamoto start with the same number of chips. Whoever wins the most money at the casino within the time limit wins the bet. Wutong's strength isn't brute force, it's his intellect. And gambling is a game of wits. He plans to use his mind to win back Xiaotang. Wutong's deep obsession with Xiaotang comes from his childhood. When he was constantly bullied, the Triad members valued strength above all, and no one respected Wutong's strategic mind. Xiaotang was the only exception. Her encouragement gave him the confidence he needed. It was then that he started to develop feelings for her. But Wutong is up against a tough opponent this time. His gambling skills aren't enough to secure a win, as Shin uses his telepathy to read the other player's cards, winning easily. Meanwhile, Sakamoto uses his incredible speed to cheat his way to victory. In the end, the gambling match ends in a draw. Wutong rejects his subordinate's suggestion to just kill Sakamoto and Shin, proposing another round instead. Shin tries to read Wutong's mind, but it turns out Wutong's brain is the polar opposite of Mishimo's. One is a genius, the other a simpleton. Trying to read his thoughts causes Shin's brain to overload, knocking him unconscious and taking him out of the game. Luckily, Sakamoto once again uses his super speed to cheat, turning the tables. Just then, Wutong's subordinates rebel. They believe in solving problems with force and have always found Wutong's methods to be childish. Sakamoto encourages Wutong not to give up, telling him to look cool in front of the girl he likes. Motivated, Wutong puts his intellect to use. He bluffs, claiming he knew about their betrayal all along and had already replaced the bullets in their guns with blanks. While Wutong has them distracted, he and Sakamoto launch their attack. These Triad members are no match for them and are taken down within minutes. After the crisis is over, Wutong tells Sakamoto that Slur is the one who issued the bounty. A few days ago, there was a murder incident at a prison. 4 serial killers were found dead, their faces burned beyond recognition, with an X written in blood on the wall. According to Wutong's intel, there have been a string of murders across Japan recently. The victims in these cases were killed in bizarre ways that perfectly match the methods of those 4 serial killers. This means the 4 killers are dead. The bodies in the prison were most likely fakes planted by Slur. Every assassin Slur has targeted is now dead. Sakamoto is the only one left. Slur likely broke those killers out of prison to use them to kill Sakamoto. Wutong warns Sakamoto that these 4 killers are incredibly dangerous, and that running is his only option. But Sakamoto sees it differently. He believes that by capturing them, he can find Slur. In that moment, an intense killing aura erupts from him. Congratulations on finishing another classic anime recap here on my channel. Season 2 of this series is set to release in July, and it's one of my most anticipated sequels of the season. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, so you'll be the first to get the breakdown of what happens next in this top tier anime. Alright, that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.